Good evening and a very warm welcome. You're watching Prime Time News on TV1. I'm Theruni Karunaratna. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Before we head on to your stories in detail, here are tonight's top stories. Criminals hiding in India to be extradited to Sri Lanka. Statement from the police. Sri Lanka police introduces new program to monitor OICs. Prime Minister accuses opposition of being afraid to put the people's mandate to the test.
විපක්ෂයක් මැතිවරණයක් ටිකක් පරක්කු කරන්න උත්සාහයක යෙදෙන මම නම් අහපු පළවෙනිවක.
Fire in Ravana Alla Forest Reserve doused after 2 days. Risk of rockfall on Alla Vallabaya Road. Israel releases Palestinian prisoners after Hamas frees Israeli hostages in Gaza. On to those stories in detail now. Sri Lanka police said that several criminals who have fled to India will soon be extradited back to Sri Lanka. Speaking at a media briefing today, police spokesperson SSP Buddhikamanatunga said that several criminals who are currently hiding in India will be soon extradited back to Sri Lanka.
So far this year, 7 shootings linked to organized crime gangs have been reported, out of a total of 13 shootings. These incidents resulted in 9 deaths and 2 injuries. 30 people connected to these crimes have been arrested. Authorities have seized 3 T-56 rifles, 5 pistols and 4 motorcycles used in the crimes. Efforts are underway to resolve the remaining cases, and a program is in place to extradite those who have fled abroad. Those hiding in India are expected to be extradited to Sri Lanka soon.
Reporters also raised questions about a travel ban imposed on Desi Forest Wickramasinghe, the grandmother of Yoshitha Rajapaksa, son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
The Attorney General has filed indictments against Yoshitha Rajapaksa and his grandmother Desi Forest Wickramasinghe. The relevant proceedings are taking place at the Kaduwela Magistrates Court. I want to clarify that a travel ban has been imposed on Desi Forest and it remains in effect. I held a media briefing when the ban was issued and it is still active.
The Attorney General filed indictments against the son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Yoshitha Rajapaksa, and his grandmother Desi Forest Wickramasinghe at the Colombo High Court. The charges include 3 counts under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The charges were filed against the purchase of property, including land in Sirimal Uyana Ratmalana and Dehiwala, worth over 50 million rupees. The Criminal Investigation Department arrested Yoshitha Rajapaksa on the 25th of January in connection with an investigation into the purchase of 34.5 purchase of land in Ratmalana for a sum of 360 million rupees that was allegedly acquired unlawfully. Yoshitha Rajapaksa, who was produced before Additional Magistrate Pavitra Sanjeevani, was remanded until the 27th of January. He was then released on bail on the 27th. The Ministry of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs has introduced a new program to closely monitor the activities of police OICs across Sri Lanka. Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Ananda Vijaypala said that the primary responsibilities of police OICs include tackling drug trafficking, preventing shootings and addressing organised crime within their respective jurisdictions. To ensure these duties are being carried out effectively, the Acting Inspector General of Police will conduct monthly reviews of each police OIC's performance. The minister said that strict action will be taken against any police OIC who fails to meet these responsibilities or maintains ties with criminals. The minister also reiterated the government's commitment to building a law-abiding and community-friendly police service. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that the government is not working to postpone the elections under any circumstances. Speaking at a public meeting in Aralagangbila yesterday, she emphasized that this is the first time she has seen an opposition that is afraid to test the people's mandate.
මේ අපි ඉතාමත්ම සැලසුම් සහගතව අධ්‍යයනයකින් දත්ත මත පදනම් කරගත්ත මේ පරිවර්තනය මේ වෙනස සෑම ශේත්‍රයේම අපි කරගෙන යනවා. ඒ අතරතුර විපක්ෂය මොකද්ද කරන්නේ?
We are carrying out this transformation systematically across every sector based on data from thorough studies. Meanwhile, what's the opposition doing? They cannot compete with our policies. They cannot criticize our policies. Can they compete with our political culture? It's unimaginable. Can they compete with our discipline? That's beyond imagination. If anyone thinks so, it's a joke. This is why they are engaging in low attempts to discredit our leadership and ministers, stirring up baseless allegations and fabricating lies. Do they think they can topple this government with such tactics? This is a government by the people, elected by the people and protected by the people. The group that thinks they are elite but has failed in politics cannot compete with us. For me, this is the first time I have heard of an opposition trying to delay an election. Typically, it is those in power who try to avoid elections. They are afraid to be tested. Those in power don't want to face the people and are not ready for scrutiny. But when we were in the opposition, we filed a case to prevent the postponement of local government elections as it violated the fundamental rights of the people. We won that case. Just recently, I saw news that a faction of the opposition approached the Elections Commission and asked them not to rush the election. We are not afraid to face the people. We are not afraid of being tested by the public. Regarding the election postponed for 2.5 years, the date will be set by the Election Commission. We will not pressure them to delay it. This shows that it is the opposition afraid to face the people that is trying to destabilize the government. Can they succeed? It will only be a dream.
මැතිවරණය ඒකේ දින නියම කරන්නේ මැතිවරණ කොමිසම අපි ගිහිල්ලා ඉල්ලන්නේ අනේ පොඩ්ඩක් කල් දාලා දෙන්න කියලා. ඉතින් ඒ කියන්නේ ජනතාව ගාවට යන්න බය විපක්ෂයක් තමයි මේ ආණ්ඩුව පෙරලන්න උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. පුළුවන්ද?
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Haruni Amarasuriya emphasized the government's strong commitment to improving the education sector. She expressed these views during her visit to Jaffna Hindu College today.
As a government, we are very focused on education. Once again, we need to make sure that education becomes a priority in our society and that we invest in good education. This is the intention of our government. With that in mind, we are planning substantial reforms to the education system. The tuition industry developed because of the failure of our education system. So if we want to reduce tuition, what we need to do is make sure that every child has access to an excellent education system within the school. Then that is the only way that we can reduce the reliance that students today have on education, on tuition. We want to make sure that our education system does not let any child drop out of school, that we leave no child behind. Our dream is not only for the students of Jaffna Hindu College, but every child in our country to benefit from a high quality education system. This is our goal, to make sure that every child has access to a high quality education system and that no child is left behind. We want through education to be able to produce citizens who are ethical, who are socially responsible and who are leaders for this country.
The National Programme for Cultivating All Uncultivated Lands was launched today in Polgahabela. The theme of this initiative is Ekamitata Govibimata. The Ekamitata Govibimata National Programme was launched this morning at the Hodala Jayasundararama Purana Vihara in Polgahabela under the leadership of Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Livestock, Namal Karunaratne. This initiative, which is being carried out jointly by the Department of Agrarian Development and the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Land and Irrigation, aims to ensure food security in the country, maintaining food reserves, consumption of local produce and increasing crop exports. Under the Ekamitata Govibimata National Programme, programs to inform the general public in 566 agrarian service divisions will be carried out until the 23rd of this month.
Today marks the island-wide launch of the Eka Govi Bimata National Program. This letter will be received by every relevant person within the next few days. By now, a considerable amount of uncultivated land has been identified by us. This initiative aims to ensure that all that land is cultivated. We first try to identify the reason for the failure to cultivate it. There are certain plots of land that have been abandoned for various reasons. We will intervene to provide solutions to those issues as much as possible. After cultivating those lands, we will have to take care of the harvest reaped. All of this will be taken care of.
Another public awareness program under the Eka Govi Bimata National Program was held today in Nagoda, Kalutara.
We will not be sitting idly after instructing you to cultivate. We will be giving you fertilizer subsidies and even more fertilizer periodically. We will also give you the technical support you need. Advices you need in the cultivation process will also be provided. A program will be in place to ensure the safety of harvest reap. We plan on allocating funds for many initiatives, including building cold storage facilities in each district. The end goal is to minimize cost of production for maximum output. If the cost of production is not reduced, we will not be able to provide food to the market at a low price.
Under the Eka Govi Bimata National Program, another public awareness program was carried out in the Gal Lamuna Agrarian Service Division in Polonnaruwa. Another awareness program was held in Varakapitiyaduwa in Baligama under the leadership of parliamentarian Akram Ilyas. Another phase of the Eka Govi Bimata National Program was held in Deniyakumura Bulatgama in Balangoda under the leadership of parliamentarian Basanta Pushpakumara. This event saw the beginning of cultivations of a part of the paddy field that had been left abandoned for years. Meanwhile, parliamentarian Dr. Nishanta Samaravira also engaged in an inspection tour to look into the cultivation of the Dummalabila Yaya in Valahangduwa, Akmimana. The second reading of the appropriation bill or the budget speech will be delivered by President Anura Kumara Dissanayake in his capacity as the Minister of Finance on the 17th of February at 10:30 a.m. The budget debate will take place from the 18th of February to the 21st of March. The committee stage debate will begin on the 27th of February. Deputy Minister of Land and Irrigation Dr. Susil Ranasinghe emphasized that the current government has allocated funds for national development in a way that no previous government has done before.
The people have placed their trust in us with high hopes, and the very first step in meeting those expectations is the first budget. Our goal is to be a government that allocates resources like no one has before, focusing on the country's development. We are already taking the first steps towards transforming the agricultural sector. Ultimately, we want to build a thriving economy, one that creates wealth and brings people income. We are also working hard to bring in dollars into the country. By 2025, we expect to see a significant improvement in the economy, and we are dedicated to ensuring that more money flows into the country.
How will the budget benefit the fisheries sector? Deputy Minister of Fisheries, Aquatic and Ocean Resources, Ratna Gamage, expressed these views.
This year's budget has allocated 2 to 3 times the amount of funding previously given to the Ministry of Fisheries for the fisheries sector. The focus is on uplifting the fishing community, enhancing the fisheries industry and making a significant contribution to the production economy, while improving the living conditions of the people in the sector. As a result, we expect the contribution of the fisheries industry to the GDP to rise significantly in 2025. We are also introducing a new program to achieve these goals.
Deputy Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Chaturanga Abesinghe said that plans are underway to attract a substantial influx of investment into the country in 2025.
අපි දැක්ක පහුගිය කාලේ අපේ බල ශක්තිය සම්පූර්ණයෙන් පෞද්ගලීකරණය කරගෙන යනවා වගේම මේ පුංචි
We recently saw how our energy sector is being fully privatized, with many companies entering to distribute oil within our small economy. The people are well aware of the benefits that these investments will bring to the country. We welcome investments from anyone who comes here, refines oil and exports it. However, we already have domestic and state-owned institutions capable of investing here and bringing oil to our country for distribution. Therefore, we don't believe that such a level of competition is necessary. So far, no investors have left the value-added manufacturing industry in the country. This is why I'm telling the opposition that what we are preparing to do is something they have not done. The country is ready for investments. Under the President's leadership and clear vision, we have already resumed all the investments that were halted by India, the Middle East, China and especially Japan. Sri Lanka is poised to record a massive increase in investment in 2025 compared to the past.
වාර්තා කරගන්න පුළුවන් අතීතයට සාපේක්ෂව.
The fire that broke out in the Ravana Alla Forest Reserve was doused early this morning after 2 days of intense firefighting efforts. The Badula District Disaster Management Centre has issued a warning regarding the risk of rocks falling onto the Alla Wallaby road due to the instability of the rocks at the rock summit, which was affected by the fire. The fire erupted on the 13th of February at the Alla Gap viewpoint, a popular tourist spot, before spreading into the Ravana Alla Forest Reserve. Police, tri-forces and officials from the Wildlife and Forest Conservation Departments joined forces to douse the fire. Deputy Director of the Badula District Disaster Management Centre, EML Udayakumara, said that after extensive efforts, the fire was finally doused this morning. The fire caused significant damage to the Ravana Alla Forest Reserve. Authorities suspect that the fire may have been deliberately set. Deputy Minister of Tourism Professor Ruwan Ranasinghe said that investigations have been launched to identify those responsible for the arson at the Ravana Alla Forest Reserve.
As soon as we learnt about the fire, we reached out to the Deputy Inspector General of Police. We made it clear that immediate action was needed, and we've instructed the police to begin an investigation to identify those responsible. From what I understand, the investigation is already underway, and we are committed to ensuring that those involved are held accountable as soon as possible. We are also seeing the alarming spread of fires across the mountains in Badula due to the ongoing drought. In response, we've developed a plan to hand over the responsibility of protecting these mountain peaks to the divisional councils of the National People's Power. We believe this will help prevent further fires and ensure these areas are properly safeguarded.
The Hambantota Wild Elephant Management Reserve was established through the Satyagraha movement that was led by farmers who fought for the protection of wildlife and land. But what has happened to this reserve by now? Although the Rajapaksa government officially recognized the Wild Elephant Management Reserve after the farmers' peaceful protests, land within this reserve is now being cleared. Recent reports revealed that large areas of land near the Hambantota Wild Elephant Management Reserve have been bulldozed, threatening the habitats of wildlife and undermining the purpose of the reserve. This morning, a group of farmers from the Balsapugala Environmental Union visited the area for an observational tour. Upon arrival, they encountered a group of Chinese nationals in 2 luxury vehicles. This is the state of the wildlife at this time. Later in the evening, Deputy Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Ruwan Senarath was touring the Hambantota Beach Park when he was questioned about the matter.
සමග ඇති කරගත් එකකට ගිවිසුම් ප්‍රමාණයක් තිබෙනවා ඒ ආයතන සමහර ආයතන පිළිබඳ
The companies have entered into agreements with previous governments. We have several concerns regarding certain companies, and some agreements are currently under review. We anticipate that by next week the Minister of Power and Energy The Ministry of Environment and other relevant ministers will visit the affected areas to assess the issues firsthand. They will be briefed, engage in discussions and thoroughly examine the situations. Following these evaluations, we will make informed decisions and initiate the necessary investigations.
ඒ පිළිබඳවත් අපි සාකච්ඡා කරලා අධ්‍යයනයක් කරලා ඇත්තරම නීත්‍යානුකූල ඒවට යොසුම්ගත වෙලා තිබෙනවා නම් එයාට අවස්ථාව දෙන්න වෙයි. නීත්‍යානුකූල නොවනේව තියෙනවා එවැනි ආයතන පිළිබඳව වෙනම පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න සහ තීන්දුවක් ගන්න වෙනවා.
Now, the Ministry of Environment has introduced a new WhatsApp number to facilitate quick solutions to environmental issues. The Ministry of Environment launched a new WhatsApp number to encourage public participation in tackling environmental issues. People can report environmental issues by sending messages to the WhatsApp number 076-641-2029. The Ministry will forward these issues to the relevant institutions, ensuring timely and sustainable resolutions. Investigations and follow-ups will be conducted to ensure proper action is taken. The service is available from Monday to Friday between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. This is a revelation on yet another road development project that spent people's tax money in billions just for it to be halted halfway through.
What happened to the village?
This is the by-road that connects the Horamulla junction on the Andana Demuwatta main road in Ratnapura and Odebakamba. The road is 4 kilometers long and over 1,000 families use this road on a daily basis. Renovations on this road, which had not been done for years, began during the tenure of the previous government. This was initiated under the program to carpet 100,000 kilometers of roads. However, the project never saw its conclusion. This is the current state of the road.
අන්තිමට මේ කාපට් දානවා කියලා කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ ප්‍රතිබිම්බයි. තව ඉස්සරහා බෝක්කු 3ක් හදලා තියෙනවා. එච්චරයි. මේ සල්ලි වියදම් කරලා විතරයි.
නෑ දිගටම මේ පාර දිගටම සවුත්තුයි. ලෙඩෙක්වත් හදිසිලා අපිට එකගෙන යන්න විදිහක් නෑ. වාහනයකට යන්න දෙයක් නෑ. ගෙවල් වල වාහන දෙන මිනිස්සු බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා. වාහනේ පාරට දාගන්න බැරුව.
පොඩි ළමයි 50කටක් විතර උදේට ඉස්කෝලේ යනවා. මේ බලන්න ඇවිල්ලා පාර කඩාගෙන ගිහලා තියෙන්නේ මේ පල්ලෙහාට. ලොකු අනතුරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
අපිට අදටත් දන්නේ නෑ මේ පාරට සල්ලි හම්බුනේ කාටද කිසිම ආයතනයකින් වගකීමක් බාරගන්නේ. අපි ගිහිල්ලා ආවම ඒගොල්ලන්ට මේ පාර අයිති අරගොල්ලන්ට කියනවා. පළසභාවෙන් ඇහුවොත් කියනවා ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාවට අයිති කියලා. ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාවෙන් ඇහුවොත් කියනවා පළසභාවට අයිති කියලා. බෝක්කු දාන්න පටන් අරගෙන පාර කැපුවට පස්සේ වතුර පාර මේ පාර හරහා ගිහිල්ලා තිබිච්ච පාරත් අපිට නැති වෙලා දැන් අපි මාර අසරණ වෙලා ඉන්නේ.
What happened to the funds that were allocated for this project? Who pocketed it all? Who were the officials in charge who chose to keep quiet as public funds and property? Aren't they responsible as well? Aren't these all public funds that are being wasted in billions?
What happened to the village?
Newsfirst with the people.
The National Secretariat for Elders said that the 3,000 rupees allowance for low-income senior citizens will be paid starting from the 20th of February.
Previously, the 3,000 rupee allowance for low-income senior citizens was scheduled for distribution on the 15th of every month. However, due to various logistical challenges, it has not been possible to pay the allowance on the designated date in recent months, causing inconvenience for senior citizens. Director of the National Secretariat for Elders, Chaturam Mehedum, said that after discussions with the relevant parties, arrangements have now been made to pay the allowance and any pending arrears through post offices and the sub-post offices beginning on the 20th. Senior citizens over the age of 70 who are part of families receiving Aspasama benefits will have their allowances directly credited to their Aspasama accounts, and as has been the practice since last November.
The annual awards ceremony of the Bandaranaike Academy for Leadership and Public Policy was held today. The award ceremony of the Bandaranaike Academy for Leadership and Public Policy took place this morning.
Our chief, Dr. Tara Dinell, Academic Affairs. democracy, good governance, caring for others, and so on. This was just a thought that I would like to place before our students, who we hope will go on to become shining examples of leaders for our society. The rot that has set in our society, beginning from the top, has seeped right through, vertically, horizontally, everywhere. There is no sector that is not touched by the corruption, by the lack of ethics, by the lack of caring for others. And that has to change. And I think all of us, all of you who may not necessarily go into politics, but you are in the private sector, you may have your own businesses, you may be public servants, and or teachers in the university system. Please decide. Take it that you have to make the best of what we are trying to do and take the lead in taking our country and encouraging many others to become good leaders.
Students who completed their postgraduate and other credentials received awards. Architect 2025, an exhibition showcasing architects' work and trade, will be held from the 21st of February to the 23rd at the BMICH. A media briefing was held yesterday to announce the event. The 43rd Architects' Work and Trade Exhibition, Architect 2025, organised by the Sri Lanka Institute of Architects, will take place from the 21st of February to the 23rd. The Sri Lanka Institute of Architects is one of the foremost professional organisations in Sri Lanka as well as in the Asian region.
We are holding the oldest exhibition in the industry. So we must thank our forefathers coming out of the visionary ideas to the betterment of the profession of architecture. Although we were struggling during the last few years as a country, as a nation, as an industry, but this year we have very good signs. Almost 130 people agreed to join with our tour operators. So they have visited this country and experienced our beautiful culture, the climate, food. So as a result of that, they have promised to bring investors to this country. So that's a very good sign. As a small group of professionals, we managed to introduce some people to develop this country, to bring dollars to this country.
First one is locally made products and materials that are innovative, sustainable and cost effective. And the second one, locally made products and materials that are innovative, sustainable and cost effective using local as well as imported materials and equipment. Third one, imported products and materials that are innovative, sustainable, cost effective and exceptionally useful to the building industry but cannot be made in Sri Lanka under the prevailing conditions. So these are the three categories that we offer this award. And these award schemes for architects and trade we offer in order to provide a platform for them to display their innovative ideas, innovative products so that they go into the industry together with us. So that is a service that we attempt to do to our industry.
Architect 2025 will serve as a dynamic platform for knowledge sharing, networking and industry growth. Newsfirst, Sirasa TV and Sirasa FM are the media partners of the event. On to a headline-making international news item now. Hamas released 3 more Israeli captives in the Gaza Strip in the 6th such exchange following days of tense negotiations that threatened to undo the precarious ceasefire. In return, Israel began returning 369 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails on Saturday, most without any charges or convictions. This is the largest number of Palestinians to be freed since the beginning of the truce. Hamas released the 3 Israeli hostages in Gaza on Saturday, and Israel began freeing some 369 Palestinian prisoners and detainees in exchange after mediators helped avert a ceasefire collapse. The 3 Israelis were led onto a stage with Palestinian Hamas militants armed with automatic rifles standing on each side of them at the site of Khan Yunis before they were taken into Israel by Israeli forces. Shortly afterwards, the first bus carrying freed Palestinian prisoners and detainees departed Israel's Ofer jail in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. The bus arrived in Ramallah to a cheering crowd, some waving Palestinian flags. The swap of the 3 Israelis for 369 Palestinians allayed growing alarm that the ceasefire agreement could unravel before the end of the 42-day first stage of the truce pact, in effect since the 19th of January, after 15 months of devastating war. 19 Israeli and 5 Thai hostages have been released so far, with 73 still in captivity, around half of whom have been declared dead in absentia by Israeli authorities. Hamas had earlier threatened not to release more hostages after it accused Israel of violating the terms of the ceasefire, drawing counter threats of resumption of fighting from Israel. Prospects of the ceasefire surviving have also been clouded by US President Donald Trump's call for Palestinians to be moved permanently out of Gaza and for the enclave to be turned over to the US to be redeveloped. That call was rejected by Palestinian groups, Arab states as well as Western allies. Hamas agreed last month to hand over 33 Israeli hostages, including women, children and sick, wounded and older men, in return for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners and detainees during a 6-week truce during which Israeli forces would pull back from some of their positions in Gaza. In an extraordinary encounter, a father captured the moment a humpback whale briefly swallowed his son. Despite the terrifying ordeal, the son emerged unharmed. Adrian Simankas was kayaking with his father Del Simankas when a massive whale suddenly surfaced, trapping the young man and his yellow kayak in its mouth for a few seconds before letting him go. Adrian described the terror of those few seconds and explained that his real fear set in only after resurfacing, fearing that the huge animal would hurt his father or that he would perish in the frigid waters.
Sí, yo pensé que me había comido ya y que me había tragado. Al principio, cuando pensé que había muerto, fue como claro, mucho terror, porque pensé que ya no podía hacer nada, ¿no? Y cuando salí y empecé a flotar, ahí sentí el miedo de verdad de que también le fuese a pasar algo a mi papá, de que no hubiésemos llegado a tiempo a la orilla y me fuese a dar hipotermia.
Vamos. Newsfirst. Main sponsor.
Tokyo Super, ඕන වැඩකට Super. Some bonds last a lifetime. Nippon Cement.
We all adore flowers for their fragrance and beauty, but some leave an impression that lasts a lifetime. Tonight on Happy Headlines, we focus on the captivating cat's claw vine, a flower that blooms only once a year.
Happy Headlines.
The cat's claw vine refers to the plant Dolichondra unguis catty. This stunning beauty can be found at the University of Peradeniya and the Peradeniya Botanical Gardens, where its vibrant yellow blooms transform the landscape. The cat's claw vine typically bursts into bloom in mid-March, sticking around until April. So, if you time it right, you'll be treated to a spectacular sight. This plant's vines spread wildly, creating a breathtaking cascade of flowers, making it one of nature's most striking spectacles. But while it's a showstopper, the cat's claw vine is also an invasive species. Environmentalists urge visitors to admire its beauty, but leave it undisturbed. Taking parts of the plant to replant elsewhere disrupts the delicate balance of nature. The Sirasa TV YFM Adare Tharam Valentine's concert with Ritzbury and Rexona soap is now happening at the Lotus Tower in Colombo. We'll leave you tonight with some highlights from the concert. Good night.
The Sirasa TV YFM Adare Tharam Valentine's concert with Ritzbury and Rexona soap kicked off this evening with a series of exciting games designed to bring couples together and celebrate their unique bond. The evening's highlight came later with an incredible lineup of performances, starting with the youthful Sarit Surit and the News Band. The stage was then taken over by a star-studded lineup of artists including Sanka Dinet, Dinesh Gamage, Kaiser Kais, Kanchana Radhi, Nilan Hettiarachchi, Hana Shafa and Amelia Vijay Surya.
Papue usmadia